Good morning, everybody. It is June 28th, 2012. It is currently 8:12 a.m., and we are starting off on yet another heat wave for the northern mid-Atlantic. Looks like temperatures are going to be pushing well over 90 degrees for New York City and Philadelphia for the next several days. So let's get to the forecast. Currently, what do we have in place? We have temperatures ranging from the mid 60s to lower 70s throughout the northern mid-Atlantic. Notice the dew points this morning are about 10 degrees warmer, ranging anywhere from 53 to 58 degrees. And that means we have more moisture in the atmosphere. We're actually going to see even more moisture moving forward. In fact, many locations as we move on through this forecast period will see lows only in the lower to mid 70s. I would not be surprised if some locations are stuck in the upper 70s for lows in this new heat wave that's building in. Let's take a look at the water vapor satellite picture because I find this really interesting. Now we have our polar vortex, well not polar vortex, an upper level low set up over the Canadian Maritimes once again. We've seen this all spring and heading into the summer. What's different now is that our heat ridge is getting stronger and stronger, and we could see that by all the blacks and reds. All this black and red signifies sinking air, and that sinking air warms. And as the temperatures warm, it at the surface it builds the 500 millibar ridge, which enhances sinking air. Well, you see the feedback process here. The hotter it gets, the stronger the ridge gets. The stronger the ridge gets, the hotter it gets. So, when you have a pattern like this repeating on itself, well, heat waves tend to last longer and longer with each run. Now we are entering our second heat wave. The first one was a couple weeks ago. Now we're heading into our second one. High pressure over portions of western Pennsylvania will shift off the coast and reconsolidate off the coast, producing a stronger southwesterly wind and westerly wind at the surface and aloft. This is what's left of Tropical Depression Debbie. It's no longer of tropical origin. It's now an extratropical storm. Ironically, it's looking healthier now than it ever did as a tropical system. That's going to continue to head out into the Atlantic and will have no impact on the northern mid-Atlantic, aside from enhancing the sinking air over the New York City and Philadelphia metropolitan area. So that basically is going to lead to scattered cloud cover today, no threat for precipitation, as winds aloft converge, and that convergence leads to even more sinking air. As a result, our temperatures are going to be much warmer than what they were yesterday, pushing into the 90s in many locations away from the coast. Also note that this cold front will not reach the northern mid-Atlantic anytime soon. It will weaken as it's moving east and basically all but wash out. Cold fronts like this are going to lead to very weak disturbances over the next 7 days, and those disturbances could produce an isolated shower or thunderstorm, but nothing widespread. Over the next 7 days in this type of weather pattern, expect, well, dry and hot conditions with very humid weather as well. That's going to lead to the heat index over the next couple days, pushing well into the 90s and possibly exceeding 100 degrees on several days. If you are in the urban locations of New York City, and especially the Philadelphia metropolitan area, be prepared for prolonged periods of temperatures in the 90s for highs. This is not going to be pretty, and with the heat index pushing near 100 degrees, use some caution, be smart, drink plenty of water, and rest when you start to feel a little dizzy or worn out or run down. You don't want to get heat stroke, you don't want to get sick. Just be smart and get inside and cool off. Here we are with the infrared satellite picture. I'm using this just to show that really what we just have is some high clouds here. We don't have really any low clouds whatsoever, and I'm expecting sky cloud cover for the most part. Notice the trend here of the convection with this cold front. It's lifting from southwest to northeast, which means that this cold front really isn't pushing east all that much and is actually weakening as it's doing so. When you start to see cloud cover and convection lift off in this direction and not really building east much, that's usually a bad sign for a cold front. It usually means that that cold front doesn't have much support and will likely weaken and not be much of a factor. What will be a factor will be all this high pressure, which will drive plenty of hot air into the northern mid-Atlantic. How hot? Well, for highs for today, look for mid to upper 80s along the immediate coast, and I mean immediate coast. Away from the coast, look for temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 90s. I would not be surprised if Philadelphia gets a surprise high temperature of 95 degrees if the sinking air coming off the Appalachian Mountains is just right. Just throwing that out there. Some of the NAM model guidance is actually starting to show that already with the latest updates from 1 a.m. So that's something to definitely keep an eye on as we move forward. Now let's take a look at the model guidance using the European model guidance from the Penn State EWOL website, an excellent website for all your model needs. Here we are for this evening. Again, our trough remains over the Canadian Maritimes. We remain on the edge of this powerful heat ridge. Under this heat ridge, temperatures are exceeding well into the 100-degree range. Very hot, very impressive temperatures. Temperatures at the mid-levels, where I'm usually talking about, are over 25 degrees Celsius. What that basically means is that this is very hot air. And this hot air is expanding and pushing east. And that's why we are going to see temperatures push into the 90s, because this entire heat ridge is expanding in coverage. So moving forward through the next several days, we'll continue to sit in between this trough and this ridge. And so what that basically means is that, yes, we get hot. We get temperatures in the upper 80s to mid 90s for the most part. Upper 80s along the immediate coast, mid 90s away from the coast. I could see a few upper 90s in some urban locations as well, because temperatures just won't cool off due to the urban heat island. However, another impact we're going to see is that we're going to see these little weak disturbances try to dive into this weakness in the ridge, and what that's going to mean is that each afternoon will feature the threat for an isolated shower or thunderstorm. I stress the word isolated here. I think most locations will remain dry all the way on through Wednesday with no significant impacts whatsoever as far as major cold fronts or any major cool downs. Look for temperatures again to range basically in the 90s. Humidity will remain high, so therefore the heat index will remain high. And you get all these days of 90-degree temperatures in a row, it starts to wear on you. So use some caution and be smart. Moving beyond the forecast period into the rest of the 4th of July weekend, there is a little bit of good news. Now, this ridge is going to start to shift a little bit more to the west, and that's going to allow this trough to try to sneak in. The entire 500 millibar pattern is elevated, which means that these troughs are weak and really aren't going to have a major impact. But at the very least, we'll have a chance to see a better chance at least of seeing some scattered showers or thunderstorms next Saturday. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. That could lead to a little bit of a cool down. When I say cool down, I mean upper 80s. Otherwise, if you notice the 850 millibar temperatures and the 850 millibar winds, all coming from the southwest here, even on to next Saturday, and 850 millibar temperatures right around 20 degrees Celsius. Well, basically, no thunderstorms. If there are no thunderstorms on Saturday afternoon, you could look for temperatures again remaining in the 90s. So really, from today on through next Saturday, not just this Saturday, but next Saturday, we'll have the capability of temperatures remaining in the lower to mid 90s at the very least, away from the coast with high levels of humidity. Welcome to summer of 2012. Well, that is your forecast discussion for today. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. You can follow the latest weather information on this heat wave at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter and Facebook. And if you need to know of more upcoming heat waves, well, just become a premium member and you'll get this information 4 weeks ahead of time. Have a wonderful day and stay safe out there.